Welcome back to the channel, guys. Cesare here, and I'm back with another one. So, Fast X is around the corner. I'm gonna be ranking all the Fast and the Furious movies according to which I like the least and the ones I love the most. Let's go. Okay, guys. So at number 9, ooh, it has to be F9. I mean, the moment you start taking people to space in a car with NOS, then you're gonna start to have some problems, guys. I really didn't enjoy this movie at all. As an action spectacle, they always deliver, but in terms of a good movie in the series, isn't one of my favorites. And one thing I'm gonna say is, guys, you can't replace Dwayne Johnson with John Cena. I'm just saying, guys. Number 8, we have Too Fast, Too Furious. I mean, this was the introduction of Tyrese's character, Roman Pierce, and there was a nice dynamic between Tyrese and Paul Walker for the movie, but basically that was about it, guys. The rest of the movie, it felt bland. It didn't really have a good story. And one thing that bothered me the most is that they try to make it feel like a video game. They try to make it feel like, let's say, what was a great game at that time, Need for Speed Underground. So they were going more towards the neon lights. Everything was sparkly, shiny, and the best thing about this movie was the opening scene for me when Paul Walker showed up in the skyline. I will never forget that scene. That is legendary. And for me personally, it's Paul Walker's greatest scene in the whole series. Although it's in one of the series' worst films, guys. And number 7, The Fate of the Furious. Basically, this one, they turned Vin Diesel into the big bad. And this one also didn't really work for me, guys. I don't know. At this point, everything was leaning more towards being over the top and trying to make it as outlandish as possible. There was a lot of characters introduced here. You had Helen Mirren come in. Jason Statham was a regular here now. And the whole Toretto being the villain didn't work out for me, guys. And that's why that's at number 7. At number 6, guys, we have Fast and Furious. This was the 4th movie in the series overall, and I actually liked this one, guys. It was more of a cop drama. It definitely moved away from what was happening in Tokyo Drift. So I would say this was a fresh start for the whole series. So it went with the murder mystery, police drama, and it was a solid movie. It wasn't the best, but I can't fault it. It was a solid movie, guys. At number 5, I know this is the one movie that everybody hates on. It was the introduction of DK. Yes, not Donkey Kong, Drift King. This was a movie that took us to the streets of Tokyo. It had that Yakuza crime element to it. You saw an overhaul with a brand new protagonist. And that didn't work for me, guys. That really, really didn't work for me. I mean, Bow Wow was in the movie. He came with the comedic side of things, but that's about it. There was a lot of one-liners, but the acting itself was very bland. The whole drifting worked out nicely for the movie, and one of the standouts for me would be the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack was amazing. Neptunes, Pharrell on the production. That's one of the highlights, but the rest of the movie just fell short. That's Tokyo Drift at number 5. This is where we get into the good stuff, guys. At number 4, you have Fast 6. Fast 6, I watched with my brother. It was really enjoyable, guys. You had a dynamic of Toretto's team going up against a makeshift team with a lookalike team. And that whole dynamic for me was very funny. You saw the introduction of Luke Evans's character, which was a great introduction. I really enjoyed that. And the two teams going at it against each other made the movie exciting. And this is where you could start to feel that the movie was becoming more of an action movie and leaning into the espionage side. And I really enjoyed Fast Six, guys. I'm not gonna lie. It's a movie that I watched a lot when it came out, and that's it at number 4, guys. And at number 3, guys, the original Fast and the Furious movie, guys. This is a movie that I would say that when I was a teenager, it was the one movie where if I come home from school, I would make sure that I have to watch this movie, guys. It was that good. The soundtrack was amazing, and it introduced a lot of iconic lines for me. I mean, me and the mad scientist have to rip apart the block and replace the piston rings you fried. That was an iconic line. You had Paul Walker as Brian Spillner. Sounds like a serial killer. Is that what you are? Are you a serial killer? And who can forget, I want the tuna with no crust. It's an iconic movie, guys. I mean, you have the Honda 2000, you have the Supra, you have that iconic race at the end between Toretto and Brian. I'll never forget that, guys. And the way that this movie ended was iconic to me because it's basically him giving Toretto the key, and everything just ends right there. That was iconic. So that's why everybody was surprised that Vin Diesel didn't return for the sequel, guys. But that's what I have at number 3, guys. Number 2. Number 2 is Furious 7, guys. Uh, this movie coincided with the untimely passing of Paul Walker, which is my favorite character in the entire series. And I'm gonna be honest here with you guys, the movies just haven't felt the same after the passing of Paul Walker. It was such an iconic character. He lit up the screen every time he made an appearance. And I mean, Brian, guys, Brian, Skyline, GTR, it's iconic, guys. It's one of those things in cinema that if you've watched it, it's something that will stay in your mind forever. So this this movie pulled a lot of people's heartstrings going into this movie. I enjoyed the movie, guys, and it was a great film. And like I've said before, it's one of those movies where people were convinced that it might be nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards. That didn't happen, guys, but it's a movie that has stayed with me since I've watched it. And it was very emotional for me. Even that scene where the cars and Toretto and Brian go their separate ways and ending their character. It's an iconic movie, guys, and a movie that will stay with me for years. That's why I have it at number 2. With that being said, guys, the number 1 movie for me in the franchise has to be Fast 5. Fast 5 was amazing, guys. I mean, it was the introduction of Dwayne Johnson's character Hobbs. You had the original team back together. This happens like literally after Fast and Furious, which is the fourth film, and it starts off as a high-paced action thriller with Hobbs being introduced, trying to chase down the team. That whole dynamic was nice. It takes place in Rio de Janeiro, in the streets of Brazil. It was, oh, guys, this was amazing. The fight between Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson, that's iconic. Even them meeting up in the middle of the streets, and who can forget the iconic line? And this is Brazil. I mean, it has a lot of iconic things in this movie I can talk about, guys. And finding out Mia's pregnant with Brian's child, and who can forget the last action set piece of the movie where they are basically driving through the streets of Brazil with a safe. I don't know if that is possible, but they pulled it off. It looked pretty convincing when you watch the movie, guys. And there's a lot of things that's amazing. Even the race when they steal the police cars, that's a very nice action set piece in there, guys. And I really, really enjoy this movie, guys. This to me was a mix between all the racing stuff that we're used to, and then you added the Ocean's 11 element into that of getting the team together and pulling off this massive heist to change everybody's lives. I really enjoy this one, guys, and it's a movie I can always go back to and say it's the most iconic movie in the series, guys. That is me ranking all the Fast and the Furious movies, guys. Maybe you have a different perspective. Maybe you'll change something here and there, or there's another movie that might be your favorite. I think a lot of people might put Furious 7 at number one, but in terms of the impact and the way I enjoyed the film, it has to be Fast 5 for me, guys. You guys can comment down below. Let me know what you think about this ranking. Do you agree? Do you disagree? That's the nice thing about this, guys. Everybody has their own opinion, and everybody's different in how they feel when it comes to watching a movie. And that's why I enjoy film, because it doesn't mean that this is a definitive version of ranking all these movies. It just means that it's the movies that I like and that resonate with me the most. If you guys are new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Hit the like button. Hit the bell that you can stay up to date with all the new movie news, entertainment news, and television, guys. All that on the channel. Cesare Roach Entertainment, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.